I, 28M, nearly lost a testicle while my girlfriend ignored my calls for help, laughed at my pain, and blocked me so she could keep clubbing. Now she's begging for another chance. I never thought a night of intense pain could lead to such a profound reevaluation of my life and relationships. But here I am, still reeling from an experience that nearly cost me a testicle and definitely cost me what I thought was the love of my life. It was supposed to be a typical Friday night. My girlfriend, let's call her G, was heading out clubbing with her friends while I stayed in to catch up on work. We'd been together for 2 years, and while our relationship wasn't perfect, I thought we were solid. How wrong I was. As G was getting ready, I noticed a dull ache in my lower abdomen. Nothing too concerning, I thought. Probably just indigestion from the greasy takeout we'd had for lunch. I mentioned it offhandedly to G as she was leaving. "You'll be fine, babe," she said, barely glancing up from her phone. "Just take some Tums or something." I nodded, planting a quick kiss on her cheek. "Have fun tonight. Text me when you're heading home, okay?" She rolled her eyes playfully. "Yes, Dad, don't wait up." And with that, she was gone in a cloud of perfume and excitement. I settled in at my desk, determined to knock out a few hours of work before calling it a night. But as the hours ticked by, the pain in my abdomen grew steadily worse. By midnight, I was doubled over, a cold sweat breaking out across my forehead. The pain had localized to my right testicle, which was now swollen and excruciatingly tender. Panic started to set in as I realized this was far more serious than indigestion. I fumbled for my phone, my fingers shaking as I dialed G's number. It rang once, twice, 3 times before going to voicemail. I tried again, my breath coming in short gasps as another wave of pain washed over me. This time, she picked up on the 4th ring. The pulsing beat of club music nearly drowned out her irritated voice. "What? G, I need help," I managed to croak out. "Something's wrong. I think I need to go to the hospital." There was a pause, then a laugh. "Are you serious right now? It's probably just a stomach ache. Take some Advil and go to bed." "No, you don't understand," I pleaded, fighting to keep my voice steady. "It's my testicle. It's swollen, and the pain is unbearable. I can't drive myself. Can you please come home?" Another laugh, louder this time. "Oh my God, are you for real? You're interrupting my night out because your balls hurt. Grow up, seriously." The callousness in her voice felt like a physical blow. "Gee, please, I'm scared. I really need you right now." "Fine." She sighed heavily. "I'll be there in like an hour. I try not to die before then, okay?" The line went dead before I could respond. I slumped against the wall, a mix of relief and hurt washing over me. She was coming, it would be okay, but the way she laughed at my pain, the reluctance in her voice, it left a bitter taste in my mouth. The next hour was pure agony. I tried calling G several more times, but each attempt went straight to voicemail. As the pain intensified, I realized I couldn't wait any longer. With trembling hands, I called an ambulance. The EMTs arrived within minutes, quickly assessing my condition and loading me into the ambulance. As we sped towards the hospital, lights flashing and sirens blaring, I made one last attempt to reach G. This time, an automated message informed me that her number was no longer in service. She'd blocked me. In my hour of need, when I was scared and in pain. She'd actually blocked my number so she could keep partying. The next few hours passed in a blur of doctors, tests, and eventually, emergency surgery. The diagnosis, testicular torsion, a condition where the spermatic cord becomes twisted, cutting off blood flow to the testicle. Left untreated, it can lead to the loss of the affected testicle within hours. I'd gotten lucky, if you could call it that. The doctors managed to save my testicle, But it had been a close call as I lay in the recovery room, groggy from anesthesia and sore from the surgery. The full weight of what had happened began to sink in. G hadn't come. She hadn't called, hadn't checked in, hadn't done anything to see if I was okay. The person I thought I could rely on most in this world had abandoned me when I needed her most. It was nearly noon the next day when my phone finally buzzed with a message from G. No apology, no concern, just a casual, "Hey, you okay? Sorry. I missed your calls last night. Got a little too drunk, lol." I stared at the screen, a cold fury building in my chest. With shaking fingers, I typed out a response. "No, I'm not okay. I just had emergency surgery. Where were you?" A reply came quickly. "Oh my God, what? Why didn't you tell me it was that serious?" I couldn't believe what I was reading. The audacity, the complete lack of self-awareness. It was staggering. I fired back. "I tried. You laughed at me, told me to grow up, and then blocked my number. I could have lost a testicle because of you." There was a long pause before her next message. "I'm so sorry, babe. I didn't realize. Can I come see you?" "No," I replied, my decision crystallizing in that moment. "We're done. Don't contact me again." Blocked her number before she could respond, a sense of grim satisfaction mixing with the pain and betrayal swirling in my gut. The next few weeks were a blur of recovery, both physical and emotional. My parents flew in to help take care of me, their concern and support a stark contrast to G's callous behavior. Friends rallied around me, offering help and expressing shock at G's actions. It was during this time that I learned the full extent of G's betrayal. Mutual friends filled me in on what had really happened that night. Apparently, G had bragged to her friends about ignoring my whiny calls, making a joke out of my pain. She'd blocked my number at their suggestion, laughing about how I needed to man up. Each new revelation was like a knife to the heart. How had I been so blind? How had I not seen this side of her before? As I healed physically, I threw myself into therapy, determined to understand how I'd ended up in such a toxic relationship. It wasn't easy, confronting my own insecurities and the red flags I'd ignored. But slowly, I began to rebuild my sense of self-worth. About a month after the incident, G showed up at my apartment unannounced. I was still moving gingerly, the physical reminders of my ordeal a constant presence. Seeing her standing there, a contrite expression on her face brought all the anger and hurt rushing back. "What are you doing here?" I demanded, not bothering to hide the bitterness in my voice. "I came to apologize," she said, her eyes welling with tears. "What I did was unforgivable. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I realize now how selfish and cruel I was. Can we please talk?" Part of me wanted to slam the door in her face, but another part, the part that had loved her for 2 years, hesitated. "Fine," I sighed, stepping aside to let her in. "You have 5 minutes." What followed was a tearful, rambling apology. G claimed she'd been struggling with alcohol addiction, that she'd been in denial about how bad things had gotten. She swore. She'd been sober since that night that she was getting help. "I know I don't deserve it," she sniffled, "but I'm begging you for another chance. What we had was special. We can work through this. I know we can." I listened silently, my emotions warring within me. On one hand, I couldn't deny that a small part of me still cared for her. We'd shared 2 years of our lives, and those feelings don't just disappear overnight. But on the other hand, the memory of that night, the pain, the fear, the utter abandonment was still raw. "Gee," I said finally, my voice steady, "I appreciate your apology. I really do, and I'm glad you're getting help. But what happened that night? It changed things. It showed me a side of you that I can't unsee." "But people can change," she protested. Reaching for my hand, I pulled away, shaking my head. "Maybe they can, But trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to fully repair. I don't trust you anymore, G, and without trust, we have nothing. Her face crumpled, fresh tears spilling down. Her cheeks, please, she whispered, I love you. I'll do anything to make this right. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what I knew I had to say. The thing is, G, I don't think I love you anymore. Not after this. What you did, it killed something in me, something I'm not sure can be brought back to life. She let out a choked sob, but I pressed on. I hope you get the help you need. I really do, but it can't be with me. We're over. G, for good. The finality in my voice seemed to hit her like a physical blow. She stared at me for a long moment, her eyes searching my face for any sign of wavering. Finding none, she nodded slowly, defeat etched in every line of her body. I understand, she said quietly. I'm so sorry for everything. I hope someday you can forgive me. As I watched her walk away, a strange mix of emotions washed over me. Sadness for what we'd lost, anger at her betrayal, but also a sense of relief. It felt like closing a chapter, like I could finally start to move on. The months that followed were a journey of self-discovery and healing. I threw myself into my work, picked up new hobbies, and reconnected with old friends. Slowly but surely, I began to rebuild my life. A life that was fuller and more authentic than before. Looking back now, I can see that night as a turning point. It was painful, yes, and I wouldn't wish that experience on anyone, but it forced me to confront some hard truths about myself and my relationships. It taught me the importance of self-respect, of setting boundaries, of surrounding myself with people who truly care. I've started dating again recently, taking things slow and being much more mindful of red flags. I'm not bitter or jaded. If anything, I'm more open and honest than ever before. Because I know now, in a way I never did before, exactly what I'm worth and what I deserve in a partner. To anyone out there who's been betrayed by someone they love, who's questioning their worth because of someone else's actions, I want you to know this: you are stronger than you know. You deserve better. And sometimes, the most painful experiences can lead to the most profound growth. As for me, I'm doing just fine, both testicles intact and my self-respect firmly restored. And hey, if nothing else, I've got one hell of a story to tell at parties. If you enjoyed this tale of testicular trauma and personal triumph, why not subscribe? I promise my future posts will be just as ballsy, but hopefully with less medical drama.